Hey, I had the great honor of being asked to participate in the second annual Great Guitar Build-Off this year, and I got my kit in the mail today. But as most of you know, I only work in reclaimed and sustainable materials, so this doesn't really fit with my thing, you know? I'm just gonna have to pass. Oh hey, look what someone threw away. Now that we found a workaround, let's dig in. Let me get you up to speed if you don't know who I am. I'm a retired musician. I used to play the double bass and used to make furniture out of reclaimed and pallet wood type stuff for years and years until eventually that became my full job, which then turned into me making guitars. And I stick to that same mantra of only using like locally sourced and reclaimable materials. Kind of an environmentalist, you know. Like you see, the one on the left there is made from some 200-year-old chestnut, and the one on the right was made from walnut out of my neighbor's firewood pile. That's what I do. So when GGBO contacted me, I was a little nervous about how I could be true to me and my mission and still participate in the competition using new wood. I don't want to come off like, like I'm wagging my finger at people that don't live the way I do and do things the way I do. And at the same time, I don't want to use, all these, I don't want to use ebony. So the first thing I noticed is that the neck they sent me is all maple, which is fantastic because that is a sustainable material that is available all over the world, and it's also great guitar wood, so I'm a huge fan of that. And the body appears to be ash, and that is also another wood it's a little bit in danger right now because of this emerald ash borer, but it's a type of wood that grows locally to me and I can find around here. So I already love that they didn't send me ebony on this kit. I'm really happy that I can continue to go forward and not feel like I'm using materials that don't belong in my workshop. Thank you very much, guys. How am I going to express myself and my views in this guitar by using this new wood? I don't want to just throw the kit into the garbage like I did at the beginning and just start using reclaimed wood, like cut it all up and add reclaimed wood. That doesn't seem like the right way to get my point across and my mission across. So instead what I'm going to do is I asked them to send me the full blank kit, and I'm going to use every square inch of it. It's about understanding the 3 R's: the reduce, the reuse, and the recycle. And so the first thing we need to do is reduce, of course. And here, hang on, let me get on my soapbox. So the first thing we need to do is reuse, of course. The second thing we need to do is reduce what we use, and then the third thing we do is recycle what we can no longer reduce or reuse. So I'm off my soapbox. The other thing that my longtime viewers will know is that I like to push the boundaries of what types of materials are reclaimed. Like everybody knows you can use pallet wood, but did you know that hollow core doors can do all sorts of amazing things? The other thing I like to explore is just the sort of designs of instruments and how we can kind of mess around with them. One of my favorite things to do is to make detachable guitars where you can change the shapes of them by taking parts off. And I've done a couple different versions of these, but none of them have been quite to the level that I wanted them to be in my head. So with those two things in mind, here's my plan for this build. This is the block of wood that the kit is, and if I cut this shape out, I can make this sort of guitar that I think will look normal on its own. And all of these pieces of wood that I'm going to cut off, I'm going to glue in together to make a blank, to make a smaller stringed instrument that I can then attach to the top of it and make it a double neck guitar. I already made the fingerboard for this smaller instrument a few weeks back with my friend Jeff from Narwhal Labs. We did some micarta experiments and we made a blank to make a guitar fingerboard out of this cloth fabric micarta. And we did some sort of patterns, and I had enough in that blank to squeeze in this little tiny mandolin fingerboard, which I already fretted, which was a pain in the neck to fret. And so this is going to go on the secondary instrument that I build in this kit. As for the detachable thing, I've done a couple different versions of detachable interchangeable guitars. One of them was like a puzzle piece that fit inside a larger body, and that smaller puzzle piece contained all the electronics. And the other one, the first one, was more of a design like this, where I basically just had some T-track slots on it. So I could slide the secondary instrument onto it. It was nice and simple, but didn't quite work the way I wanted. In this case, this instrument and this instrument have their own electronics, but I want to make it so my two instruments can go together and share the same output jack, and then when they come apart they can also be used individually. And again, I want them to both look okay on their own. This looks like something's missing. Recap. Use the kit to make a cool looking unique guitar, but use every square inch of it to make a secondary smaller instrument that I can make a detachable second neck for that guitar. Make it so it detaches and attaches better than previous designs, make it so the electronics work together, use some sustainable and reclaimed materials, and have it done by the end of May Today, I'm filming this on April 9th. I just got the kit last night on April 8th. Oh, I have, like I said, though, done a little bit of prep work. Like I did make that fingerboard. I have some basic sketches, and I have been experimenting a little bit with my detachable design. And I think I know what to do. What could possibly go wrong? Now that I finally have this in my hot little hands, I can measure it and put it into the computer to cut my my templates. Like I said, I have them started, but I want to make sure I have all the placements just right. You can see here that I used Vectric software, and I just put some basic locations of these neck pockets and stuff in here, and then started creating my design. I found the negative space and started piecing that together to see how I could create a design out of the negative space that would make my secondary instrument. But now that I have the block, I can measure and make sure that these pickup places are in the right spot. And you can see there's plenty of room. It shouldn't be an issue. I could probably just go now, but I'm just going to double check and make sure that this hole, the pre-existing cavity, will be okay where it is, and I won't cut into it by accident. And use my square, and I can see. I use this little tool of mine that I invented, and I don't know the timeline these videos are going out, but these might be available for sale at squaretools.com. If they're not, there will be soon. You'll be able to learn more about them. So I use this this tool to find the deepest point here and how far away it is from that edge, and then here, and just sort of basically recreate this shape in the software. I'm not going to town on it because it doesn't really matter, but you can see I have the important information here, and you can see this purple line is a little bit closer to the edge than I thought it was going to be, which just means I need to tweak my overall design a little bit to make sure there's room for it. So maybe we'll traced my template on here. I'm going to cut outside the line just a little bit and then use the template to clean up the edges. But I want to be as accurate as possible because I don't want to waste any wood. So, you know, I just don't have a lot to play with on this project. Well, my bandsaw blade was in better shape than I thought, and my bandsaw skills weren't as rusty as I thought. So I don't think I'm going to need to do the router thing. I can probably just use this line that I cut. Nice. And I have some leftover pieces. If I glue this up, I can get pretty close to the shape I want to get to. These pieces cut so I can glue them together to make my neck blank. And you can see this piece and this piece, the grain is running like the totally wrong direction. So I'm excited to see what happens there. I have these two pieces put aside to finish gluing this up, and then these are all the pieces I have left over. And just for good measure, I'm going to take this strip of hollow core door, slide it in here because, you know, it wouldn't really be a Tim Sway New Perspectives music project without a little bit of a hollow core door. So I'll glue this up, and there's our neck blank. It's real tough gluing this sort of end grain together like this, so I'm hoping that the adding this layer of hollow core door will help solidify everything. This is one of those end of the day glue ups because it ain't moving off this bench for a few hours.
I'll disobey your laws. Call me.
Now these are the parts that I'm using. They're designed for like hanging floating shelves and stuff. And you can see I did some experiments here. And they're tight because they're not designed to come off and on a little bit. And I actually sanded this one down a little bit, but I might sand it down some more. I want these two edges to fit perfectly, and I think I have enough room to where, because I did cut really close to the line, and it's really close, but I think I have enough room to just sort of clamp these templates down just back from the line just a tiny bit, just less than a 32nd of an inch, and run the pattern router bit along both these edges to make sure that they seam as well as my laser cut template. Looks pretty good. This point that I had drawn in the computer was a little bit sharp for the router bit that I used. So you can see here on the clean side there's a little bit of a discrepancy right there, but I think I can buff that out. I'm using these individual saddle bridges just because I have them and they're designed to do that string through thing. They get recessed into the body a little bit, so I made this template to set each one up, and I could have just made it one big solid trough, and if I end up losing that wood in between, it doesn't matter, but just for fun I thought I'd do it like this. Well, it works, but it works too well. It's incredibly tight. So I need to soften these edges up a little bit, maybe make it not quite so precision. Okay, I've got it just about where I want it now. The goal was that I wanted to just be able to push it off with one hand while you're holding the instrument. And I still kind of need to put some pressure, but I think when the neck is on, hanging onto the neck in doing this. I think it'll be okay, because I don't want it to be too loose either, you know. But now that I've got that lined up, I can go run this through the thickness planer and level the top and bottom. And then it's still a little thick for why I like to make guitars. I tend to make guitars around 1 1/4 to 1 3/8 inches thick, and this is like 1 3/4 inch thick. So I'm gonna run it through the and sort of level it down and see where we end up. And then I have to keep this edge intact so this joint fits, but I can take a lot of weight off and a lot of thickness off around the exterior. Okay, well, the fit's pretty good now, and we've got the, you know, the rough lines drawn out. So I think we'll stop this video here. I've still got a ton of work to do, obviously, on this. I've got other work to do, and I have a deadline. So let's wrap this up. I'm not sure how many videos there'll be in this series, you know, but there'll obviously be a finished one by the end of May, because that's when I have to be done. And then this guitar will go up for auction, and it will go up on eBay, and proceeds and all the money made from this will go back to charities, including the charities that Crimson Guitars and the Great Guitar Build-Off supports, as well as the charity that I chose, which is... was it one of those tree charities? I forget which one. It's probably on the screen right now. So more info to follow on that, and I will keep you posted. Thanks a lot for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and be good.